Hello and welcome to Community Spotlight. This week I've got Pong on. Obviously, I've used a new intro because I'm now a member of the Gamers United Guild. I've obviously taken it all in now and I can speak properly. I got a bit emotional when it actually happened, but yeah, it's good to be in the crew. If you want to check out a gaming website, it's www.bg4ghub.com for independent news, reviews, and much more. If you want an awesome gamer picture or logo made by the graphic god, please go to www.xboxgamerpics.com. Welcome, Pong Soul. How are you? The rising star of the podcast world that agreed to come on the show.
Stop. This is not a rising star. I'm just having a good time. Stubbs, it's awesome to be here, man. Thank you so much for the honor and privilege to be on your show. Chat, thank you all for showing up already. I know some of you guys are getting in here now. I appreciate you all. As always, love you all. But first of all, Stubbs, congratulations, man, on joining the guild. That's huge, and well deserved for everything that you've done. So, but again, absolute pleasure to be here. And I can't believe it. I never thought 2021 was going to come in like this. I never thought I'd be here. Number one, I just thought I'd be a forever chat person. I never had any plans or any idea that I wanted to actually do some podcasting. But here we are, 2021.
Nice, all good. I mean, thanks for the kind words. I just say thank you. I struggle when someone's live on the air praising me, congratulating me. It's happened. If you ever go through some of the Stubbscasts previously, like Graphic God, and when anyone does it and says I got a good thing, I struggle with my reaction because I'm not used to it. It's just it's a podcaster thing, probably. I haven't got a big inflated ego, you see. Do you know what I mean?
No, you're supposed to have one of those Stubbs. See, that's how you get big. You're supposed to do that, right? You're supposed to walk around and be like, yep, I'm Stubbs. I'm the best. Here we go. Right? That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so for quite a few turns of welcome, Jugzilla. Sorry, I'll start again. I said Jugzilla. Sorry. Right. Welcome, Judzilla UK. How you doing, mate? From the Dazcast DM. How you doing? Dazcast is back. It's back soon. Actually, it's back next Friday. It is. Pong. Oh, no, I've done it again. I was about to, all the time. I'll just say it. Welcome, Pong Soul.
Good to see you, Stubbs. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome, Caitlin. I do it all the time, even on midweek gaming.
Yeah.
I go because they start commenting. I'm reading down the chat, and I end up saying the names. I do, Welcome, Matt Barnes. Thanks for stopping by. We've got else. Welcome, Masuku. Thanks for stopping by.
I love that you finally figured out his name, by the way.
Yeah, that took a while. It did. Yeah, I'm terrible at reading names like that, and in the end, I've learned it because I used to butcher it in every week.
Yep. It's tough sometimes. I deal in a lot of names in my regular job, so I get it. It's very tough.
Welcome, Infinite. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome, Freebit. Thanks for stopping by. Who else we got? Let's go back up the list. Welcome, Jago. Thanks for stopping by, mate. Welcome back from the dead. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it's a nice Sunday, Well, here in the UK, something is very. I sent Caitlin some pictures of the snow. I haven't put them all on Twitter, but it's thick. I mean, it's in the UK we do get snow,
right?
Normally where I live, it gets mist.
Oh, okay.
Like 3 fucking foot deep or something out there. You can't tell the difference between the road and the path.
That's a regular winter where I come from, Stubbs. Come on now.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, we just got 4 inches last night.
Where are you from then?
In the Midwest, Minnesota.
Oh, fair enough. It's something rare around here, though. All schools are shut now.
Oh,
they were shut anyway, but certain children were allowed to go. But they're shut now, But yes, Pong Soul's using a new mic. I'm using a different mic. I'm using the white snowball. So welcome the indie gamer. The indie gamer normally can tell me if a microphone sounds better or if it's okay. He's a creator. He's just like that. He is. But Pong Soul's mic sounds good through my earphones. Sounds good. It does.
Good. I'm glad. I was worried about it.
Yeah, it sounds very good. It does. But yeah, no, snow's not a thing you get around in my area. I think I can't get to the window. I believe it's still snowing now.
So,
It's not
so
like it's slow, but it's constant. It doesn't stop. It's not like real thick. It's like slow and thin, but just keeps going and going and going and going.
So Stubbs, let me ask you. So do you guys have shovels then, or does somebody come and shovel for you, or are you guys just stuck? I mean, if you guys don't normally get snow, what's your process?
See right. The problem is in the UK, right? Do you mean the roads basically? Yeah.
Well, even out your front door. What do you do for your front door?
Walk out of it.
I know, but do you just walk through the snow? If there's like you said, there's 3 feet, so I know what 3 feet of snow looks like. So.
No, sorry, I meant 3 inches.
Oh, 3 inches! Oh my god!
No, it's probably like no, I'd say there's probably half a foot of snow. Probably, I was exaggerating, but
Stubbs, no. You had me convinced that like you got like our normal amount of snow that we get here. You got 3 inches. Oh man, that's nothing. That's a normal day around here. So, okay, I got you. You guys probably don't shovel much, but your streets and your roads, you guys pretty much shut down then, right?
No, we have got, they've got, obviously all the main roads get gritted. We've got snow plows. If it gets bad, they pay the farmers. The farmers, if it gets really bad on the roads, they pay the farmers, and the farmers drive around in tractors with their snow plows on. But they always get paid, the buggers always get paid. And everyone goes, oh, what lovely service you're doing. I think, they're getting paid for it. Them farmers even get paid. I don't even get paid right, because obviously when you drive in your car, the sides of the roads is all farm field bushes. Well, people don't realise that when they cut them, the councils actually pay them to cut them too. Because if they left them, they grow right onto the roads.
Well, right. Yeah. So basically, the farmers are the paid hands around there.
Yeah, but I have seen though years ago we had some snow on the path, and it was like a not a grass cutter, but it looked like a drive-on grass cutter, but they put a snowplow on it, and he was driving around all the paths.
Nice.
But no, we don't really get stuck. No, but obviously, as long as you can get onto the main road, you're all right. They don't, you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll be all right. But they've shut all the schools down, obviously.
Well, right. Yeah, of course.
They have,
Used to walk both ways to school uphill in a foot and a half of snow. So that was my early childhood.
Fair enough. Yeah. Got the main man Pong sold, everyone. Finally. I actually didn't think it'd come on because it was one-on-one, and one-on-one. Oh. It does scare people and put people off because it's one-on-one, you say.
Sure. No, I get it. I get why it's scary. I mean, I think you and I had this conversation about, different levels of confidence and what you're confident in doing, right? So, for me, I've been in sales and finance for, 25 years now, basically. So for me, talking to people isn't the problem. I don't have an issue doing that, but there's times I've tried door-to-door sales and I can't do it. I can't approach somebody and try to sell them. But if somebody approaches me and wants to buy something from me, I can talk all day, right? So podcasting is very similar to that, right? So even though it's just one-on-one here, it still feels comfortable because I'm not approaching you and like trying to get you to get me on your show, right? I wouldn't necessarily be good with that, but because you invited me on, I'm just chilling out, having a good conversation with a friend of mine that that's it. That's all I'm doing.
So I'm going to send you a picture, if you can get to Twitter.
Yeah,
of the snow, and you tell me how many inches you think that is, because I'm no expert. That was earlier.
This better be a picture of snow, Stubbs.
It is. It's not a dick pic.
I'm not telling you how many inches. All right, let's see. Well, see, you don't have a picture from the side. Yeah, you probably. Let's check out this one here. These are beautiful pictures, by the way. I love Europe with snow and stuff. I'm not a snow fan per se, even though I grew up in it, but I do love the look of it. Yeah, I'd probably say you guys got 3-4 inches.
That's probably
about what we got last night.
Oh, fair enough. But so where you live is this is thing my surprise or brought. Are you allowed to knock on doors where you live and try and sell stuff to people?
Yes. Yes,
See, in the
we still are. More
yeah.
and more states are requiring licensing now, but there are certain industries that can still do door to door.
Yeah, you can't do it in Britain. No cold. It's called cold calling. It's illegal.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
it was made basically to stop people scamming old people.
right.
In general, it was outlawed, but then some of them still kept doing it, and they were like, "Well, I'm not cold calling because you're not inviting me in. Back off." I was a bit of a bugger. I am. I used to be when he used to knock on the door because I used to be like, well, because I'm 6'3", I'm quite a big guy, and
Well,
they're just
sure, of
staring
course,
at them,
you
like,
intimidate people.
and they used to go. You know?
You just
It
put
was
on
my
you just put on an
missus is like,
angry face and you come to the door and they run.
my missus is like, you just scared that old boy. I said, I don't care. You don't try and make a living. I said, well, knock on someone. I says, how did you get the block for starters? So this is a private block. Oh,
Right.
so and so let me in. Well, I don't go. I'll go and see so and so about that. I didn't know. Welcome, Dragon Wolf. How you doing? So how is it? Well, where I live, Indie Gamer, cold calling is actually illegal. I don't know if it is where you are, but I thought it was a nationwide thing in England. Cold calling is illegal. Honestly, round in my area, cold calling is not allowed. The police, and even Leicestershire police have put things out before saying, "Don't cold call because it's illegal." You know, maybe it's a county thing, or maybe it's not nationwide, but it is round here. Anyone knocks on your door now, they think you're just. A lot of people recently pretending they're so and so to do your gutters, and they've been trying to steal people's dogs recently.
Oh my God, really? They're dogs?
Yeah, because of the pandemic, dogs are worth double what they were worth before. Like I got a Labrador, they're worth £1,600 now. Because and they were 500. My dog was worth £500 when we bought it before this pandemic, and now they've upped the price, and now people are trying to steal dogs. It's really bad.
Human beings will never stop amazing me and absolutely horrifying me what people will do. It's oh, wow.
It's crazy. It's where I live, you see. I live in a small county where we have like 6 police officers for the entire county, and they help the next county as well. We don't have a lot of police, you see.
Well, yeah, they can't spare the manpower.
I know some businesses that might be based on it, Indy, but from what I gather, where I live, it's illegal. I can't remember the last time someone knocked on the door in my area, because it's to stop criminals scamming people. I could be wrong. You might have to look it up, Indy, but I'm pretty sure it might be a nation. I thought it was a nationwide thing. I could be wrong. A lot of businesses were shut down because of it. Well, if they were a business based on it now, because of lockdown and COVID since last year, they'd be out of business, wouldn't they? They can't knock on your door, can they? They'll shut down by now. But no, I could be wrong. You can look it up, Indy, but in my area, it's heavily advertised by local police that it's not allowed. You know. Anyway, welcome, Yobi. Welcome, Daz, you fucking fanny. There you go. I got your back.
Daz, what? What?
Yeah. So, how did you get into gaming then?
Oh,
was it when the first ever computer game was invented?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm joking.
Yeah, no, pretty much. I mean, again, I'm older, not quite that old. I'm 45. But some of my earliest memories, and just all memories, takes me back to when I was 4. I think between 4 and 5 years old with my
mate, you've got some memory.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't have a whole lot. And it's glimpses mostly, but very specifically, I have some of the best memories of my grandfather and I playing Pong, the original Atari Pong, on a little 12-inch black and white TV in his bedroom. And we were sitting down with the paddles and we were playing. And I still have those memories to this day. I lost my grandpa when I was 8 and my grandma when I was 10 on my dad's side. Yeah, no. And so I don't have a whole lot of memories of them because it was all my younger years, right? But some of those, playing Pong with him and then later on Atari 2600, are some of the most vivid. And carry with me all the time. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, video games have been around in my life for basically, since I've been 4 years old.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Have you got any? What's your? Did you used to go to the arcades?
Oh yes, yeah, arcades.
Arcades.
So arcades are another big memory for me because when my parents divorced when I was really young, when I was like 2, I think, 1.5, 2. They got divorced, and so my dad had weekend visitation rights. So my dad would pick me up, and part of the we either go over to my grandparents' house and see them and hang out with my aunts and all that kind of stuff, or we would go to someplace fun, right? Of course, you're going to hang out with dad. He's going to take you someplace fun. So we always wound up at the arcade most weekends. He loved video games as well. He's certainly not the player I became by any stretch of the imagination. Different generation. Not that older people can't play, because there's plenty that do. But for him, he was too busy all the time. But he loved graphics. He's a graphic design artist, commercial. So he deals with business logos and all of their publications and stuff. He's been doing that forever.
Peeps. He's getting his own logo made by his dad soon.
Yes. I'm working with my dad on getting some official stuff put together. So, but yeah, so we'd go to the arcades all the time. And he would pick me up, and we'd be there for 3-4 hours. Some weekends he'd pick me up and drop me off, same day. Sometimes I slept over at his house or whatever else. But arcades, yeah, big part of my life. Loved them.
Well, that's good to hear. What were your favorite games in the arcade?
Well, you got to ask what generation, because I've been there through them all. But obviously the Centipedes, the Donkey Kongs, all the way up through, you name it. Moon Patrol, some of the old ones. Loved them. Frogger was in the arcade back then. Yeah, so I mean that's where I started, and then obviously you go up through all the years. I mean, you get into the Street Fighters, you get into the Operation Wolves when they brought out the guns, to the arcades, and Tron, the old Tron disc game on the arcade was fantastic. Me and my dad used to pump a lot of quarters into that. Star Wars arcade, a lot of money went down in the tubes in that one too. So yeah, no, I've experienced pretty much all the arcade has to offer through all the decades.
Did you used to be one of these really good arcade people like the likes of Lord Cognito and Ainsley, where they used to play against everyone in the arcade and have street cred and that?
No, definitely not. No, I was not one of those guys. I've always been I'm competitive to a degree, and it may be a fault, because I think competitiveness can drive you in all different ways of life. It can also be a bad thing if you're overly competitive, but I'm only competitive to a certain point. But at the end of the day, video games for me have always been about fun. And if I'm not having fun, then I'm doing something wrong. So for me, no, I never had the, of course, when you got buddies and stuff and you get that, camaraderie going, and I went through all those years too, especially in my 20s, or in my teens and my 20s. You get the buddies together and you guys are hanging out and you start trash talking. Yeah, I mean, for sure. But at the arcades, nah, I was just there to hang out with my dad or my friends, and we were just having a good time.
No, it's good to hear. That is really good stories, because I don't have any stories about arcades.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
Especially where I lived, though, there wasn't that. Obviously, I had when I went on a holiday to like the seaside towns, yeah, but they're not big memories I remember. Obviously, biggest memories I have were 2p machines. You win the little toys on if you can get enough 2p's in. Did you have them? Are they big where you are? See 2p machines?
Nope. I've heard other people talk about like nickel arcades.
Are they not a thing? There,
yeah,
no.
They're not a thing here. Like I have not seen one of those. They might be around, and I've heard plenty of people in the States talk about them, but obviously different states have different things. But here, I don't think I've ever seen a nickel or a penny arcade ever.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All it is like you drop it down, and it has little chambers, like, and there's like 2p spread all over. And it pushes it down.
I'm sorry,
and they place items onto it, and if you push them right, you get 2 pennies back.
Yes.
They put sweet stuff on it.
I know what you're talking about now, Stubbs.
We call
Yep.
machines.
Nope. I was still thinking arcade, regular arcade machines. I didn't hear your transition to talking about those. Yes, we definitely have had those. I've seen those. Pennies, quarters, nickels, whatever, and they've got all the different levels, and they kind of push as they go, and you drop them in there, and sometimes you get a bunch of them or whatever. Yes, I have seen those.
Yeah,
I played those.
They're a big thing here at the seaside towns. So
that's awesome.
Like Skegness and places like that. Well, yeah, they were. They are. That's what I used to play. That's what Stubbs used to. Indeed, when I go on holiday, I always, if it's in Britain,
not much of a challenge in that though, right?
No, but I always play on them. No, there is no, because sometimes,
I was going to say there's really no skill, is there? Like, did you develop like a certain pattern that you did? No,
there's no. You know what I mean? I've always gone on TP machines because sometimes they're obviously set to say don't win a lot, but you could put a whole pot of 2p's in and probably get 10p's worth back sometimes. But they're only a bit of fun. They are, you know.
It's like a live slot machine. That's
it's like what it is. Teddy bears. Are they rigged? Them teddy bears. They are rigged to like it's set so it's like something like. You can only grab it if they've probably got like 70 quid in it.
But have you ever watched like the ones from the Asian markets, like the pro claw players? You should go on YouTube. There's actually a bunch of people who are like pro claw players, and they just go up to random machines and they can get anything. Like, it's crazy over there. Because
you want to come over here then, see if they can do it.
Well, yeah, but our prizes suck compared to over there. You should see some of the stuff they give away in those claw machines over there. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, check it out.
I'm going to have to look this stuff up because that's quite interesting. That is. Welcome, Marion the Mad. Don't listen to Daz. He's only teasing you.
Welcome, yeah, teases everybody.
Welcome, Mass Mayhem UK. Yeah, UK Daz has been on the Stubbs cast before. He was recommended earlier on, and Daz goes, I've already been on.
That's awesome. Daz deserves to be on. Daz is a character.
A side scoop, even if Mayhem, they have a side scoop, even if they drop, you only get 40%. The rest drops into the box for the reloading. My friend owns a seaside arcade I used to help with. I can believe that. My friend won an Xbox 360 on the pair here on one of them claw machines in the game. Well done, I tell you. That's really good, that is.
What? He won an Xbox 360?
Yeah, his friend. On the claw.
Oh, was it the actual like full-size box then? Or was it like a little thing that he grabbed and said, you won a 360?
Yeah, good question, because if that dropped through the machine, it might...
Right. I just tried to figure this out. Like, it was like, because that's a pretty big box. I mean, again, they have them over. I've seen them on video over in Japan and stuff where they have full size, boxes, electronics or whatever that people can win. But I can't imagine here that they have this giant machine with Xbox 360s just hanging out in there. I mean, it's possible, but
Mayhem said it has to be a certain limit of money before they would grab. Because what gets me though is when you grab it, you can tell you're not going to win because it makes no attempt. It lifts it, it lifts it, and it goes.
It's limp. It's limp.
Yeah,
it goes limp. It drops out.
Indy said it was a card, I believe. You had to take it to the cashier to collect it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, boof! You just broke your Xbox 360.
Yeah, right. Especially since how sensitive the 360s were. Jeez, I wouldn't want to be dropping that thing anywhere.
I didn't have many 360s. I had an original one, which it never broke. And then when I upgraded, because I got one of them Xbox 360. Here we go, people. Gears 3 limited edition. Dad's be like, do not get him started on Gears. Or Edith Finch. Have you played that game, Edith Finch?
Yeah, Edith Finch. I started Edith Finch, just like a lot of games. I start and try them out and see if I, get
Good.
get into them, and then I move on if I don't get into them right away. I definitely love the concept of Edith Finch, and I'll probably go back to it just to try it out. Try to get back into it just like I did with Hollow Knight recently.
I'm doing that in a minute. Hollow Knight.
I know you are.
Indy keeps checking up on me.
That's what I'm saying. Indy's the pusher. He's a drug pusher of indie video games.
But the Hollow Knight is worth it. I think in the end, it's going to be worth it. It is.
See, look at now he's starting in on Edith Finch. No, look at him. See, Edith Finch is only 2 hours. Yes, I know, Indy. It's a shorter game. I get it, but I just did not. It didn't grab me right away when I first fired it up. So I will try back again.
Yeah, Hollow Knight, mate. Not many people in this community have completed it, so you'll have bragging rights, mate, on that.
Yeah,
if
I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's yet to be seen if I'm going to actually get through it and finish it.
Yeah, no, thanks for stopping by, everyone. It's good to see you all. It is. How's my microphone sounding, people, on the stream? Indie Gamer and Mass Mayhem. I'm using a different one. It's still a blue snowball, but I've got a white one as well. I don't know if it sounds any better or anything. I don't know.
I almost picked one of those up today. I was going to do the snowball instead of the Yeti Nano.
Yeah,
I heard some good things about those snowballs too.
Yeah, they are. They call it a bit like entry level, like where people start. But I've been doing them a while, and I'm not upgraded. I will eventually. I first want to get a better computer at some point than what I've got. Well, I will upgrade eventually. I will. But yeah, it sounds good. Indie Gamer said that's all that matters, really. You know. But yes, right. So I've got a question for you. What's your favorite Zelda?
Oh, you're not doing this. Is Lupa still in here? Because I'm not doing this. I just got back on her.
You want to blame Mav?
No. Okay.
You want me to say to Pong?
No. Yeah, you know what? That's fine.
Zelda is.
Wait, I can answer that question. Because I did play the first two, so I would definitely say the original is still my favorite. Wow. There, I do have a favorite Zelda game, and it's the first original Zelda.
Well, you might get into Lupa's good books more.
Oh God! Now 3-bit's starting in. See, he's going to encourage Lupa to come in here.
I'm sure she was in here earlier. I don't know. She might not be. I don't know.
That's all right. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, I want to see you stream that. Mav. Hollow Knight's not easy. I'm gonna watch this. Yeah. It'll be quite entertaining.
You can go back and watch his stream of Hitman 3 last night. That was pretty entertaining, Stubbs. Fun. Okay. Yeah, Mav. He started Hitman 3 last night. Oh my gosh. He's not. Let's just say it wasn't the stealthiest of first missions.
Oh, he's having a go. 2 hours is too long for a masterpiece like Edith Finch, but 150 hours in Cyberpunk isn't.
Wow. What? Oh, Indy, we're not even going there. Cyberpunk is a game of the generation, and that cannot be said for Edith Finch. Maybe a good game, but it cannot be game of generation.
Matt wants people to recommend games to him in chat. People, he needs to fill his hard drive. He does. So, out of, say, if we were to say the retro sector, what would you say your favorite console was?
Oh, that's easy. This is always and forever will be. It's the Dreamcast, with Sega Saturn a close second. So, by far and away, I mean, 360's there, but nothing touches the Dreamcast for me. From everything, just from what it did when it hit the market. And yes, Sega made a lot of mistakes. They did screw up and cost them a console, cost them the whole business of console making. I still have partial blame for Sony and PlayStation for the deals that they made. But there was a lot of mistakes made by Sega. But the Dreamcast was ahead of its time in so many ways.
Oh, yes. It introduced, as far as I know, one thing it doesn't see, a lot of people, this is what annoys me. Xbox Live, great. But some people don't know about a Dreamcast, a Dreamcast is
Correct.
the actual console that started
Correct.
multiplayer.
Correct.
First one, and people don't credit them. So I said, hang on a minute, it was a Dreamcast, not Xbox made it great, yeah.
Yep.
But they started on the console was Dreamcast.
Yep.
You know?
I've still got the discs. I still got the startup discs for the Dreamcast service. Yeah, for the online service. I still got some. Remember, because it used to come with everything. Like you'd get a disc with everything, right? It was kind of like AOL back in the day where they just mailed out discs. Like Sega put that disc in everything. So I've got a bunch of them unwrapped or still wrapped. I should say.
Have you still got the masterpiece of a console? Because
yes, I do.
It's on my list, for retro consoles to try and get. It is.
Yep,
I actually got offered one by a friend online, but we worked out that by the time that you pay shipping, VAT and duty and everything, it would be cheaper to just buy one from somewhere in England.
Yeah. No, I believe it. When you get shipping involved with anything nowadays, sometimes it doesn't make any sense. But
he was offering it for free, but then I says, I better cover that, and we worked out it'd be cheaper to just find one in this country when I can afford one.
Yep, correct. But yeah, no, the Dreamcast was a special system. There was nothing crazier, because I was living in a bachelor pad at the time with my best friend at the time, and we had dial-up. We still had dial-up internet, right? This was before broadband. This was before any of that. So we had dial-up internet. And we would plug the Dreamcast in, and we would be playing NBA 2K or NFL 2K with people in New York. And if you remember back then, it was such the early days, and with dial-up, like you'd be looking for anybody with maybe a bar of strength, and you'd try to get a match. Because most of the time you couldn't find anybody that you could link up with, right? And you'd be midway through the game, and how people now, obviously unplug their system or shut it off when they're losing. You didn't have to back then, because 75% of your games quit before the first half, because the dial-up connections were so bad back then. But it was the coolest feeling in the world to know that you were connected with somebody across the country and you were playing a game with them. No matter how bad. Again, I can't imagine a kid from one of the younger generations now going back then and seeing what lag actually is.
Yeah.
Because back then it was insane. So, but yeah, no, some of my greatest memories from the Dreamcast, some of my favorite games from the Dreamcast, just a great console that I just absolutely loved. And it was a sad day when Sega called it quits for console making.
Well, no, you're definitely right, because it's the Sega Dreamcast. I remember playing it. It might have been Kuwait or a Mill tournament, and because it had a chat, and it was text, and I couldn't believe. I used to go around my uncle's house. That's where I played it, and we couldn't believe we were playing against somebody in America.
Yeah, insane.
You're in America.
Yep,
we're in England, and we couldn't believe it. This is before voice chat, and all of that business, but we couldn't believe it. But no, Sega Dreamcast is one of the best consoles in this. Yeah, Jago still is, and Jago lost his for years, and he found it at his mum and dad's house in storage, and it was fine. It'd been in a barn or shed or something, or barn, I think it's something in storage, and it was he plugged it in, it was fine, worked perfectly. It's crazy. It is. But are you there, Pong? Pong stepped away for a minute. I have a Dreamcast and Amiga. Oh, the old Amiga indie. I didn't have one, but I heard a lot about them. Sold the Xbox and PC. Okay. My Dreamcast is in the garage. Yeah, you need to get that out, Judzilla. You need to get that Dreamcast out and fire it up. You do. Sega were always ahead of their game. Yes, you're right, Shizno Elite. Thanks for stopping by, mate. I appreciate it. 16 years in storage, Jago. Yeah, that's really good how it still works. Are you back, Pong?
Can you hear me, Stubbs?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, boy. Yeah, okay. All right. my system, my computer glitched there for a second, and it cut out the mic, and then had me on mute back on Streamlabs. So I didn't realize that. So sorry about that.
StreamYard, yeah.
StreamYard, I mean, yeah.
Have you used StreamYard before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of shows that use StreamYard that I'm on.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, no, yeah, did you hear what I said about Jago?
Yes. 16
years. Jago just confirmed 16 years in storage.
Yep, I was talking to you when you were talking about that. Yeah, I heard the whole story about how he found it up in the barn and stuff. That's crazy, and it still works. That's insane. That's awesome. I'm very happy for him because I know how bad he missed that thing, and he thought he had just lost it.
I know. He'd been looking for it for years, and then he just found it one day.
Yeah, crazy.
But no, Sega. Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened to Sega because they could still be one of the big boys if that didn't happen,
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that could have gone different ways that would have changed Sega's fortunes in the console market for sure. And again, they did a lot of it to them themselves. It started with the Sega Saturn. My second favorite console. It's right there with the Dreamcast. Very underappreciated, but that's because they didn't market it. They just dropped it on the world and said, "Here it is." And then had an exorbitant price on it and just expected everybody to flock and buy it. And when it first launched, it didn't have, a great selection of games or anything. The publishers didn't even really know, like the developers and stuff didn't even really know they were going to be making games for this thing. I remember all the stories in the magazines back then, like people from across the industry were like surprised. It was like a total secret that Sega tried to keep under wraps. I mean, people knew they were working on something, but they had no idea. And it just launched and was like, here. Make something.
You don't give people time to save up or anything.
No. I happen to, the funny story. This happened to me quite a few times back in the day because I've always been a day one guy, right? And I've always owned multiple systems. Nowadays it's a little bit different with everything going on, but I've just always been a gamer. So, I was at the mall with PlayStation 1 when they had all the demo kits set up when they were getting ready to launch their PlayStation 1, and me and my girlfriend at the time were there, and I was trying out all the games day one. But for the Sega Saturn, we went to the mall because, of course, back in the day, the mall was big. Like that's where you went, right? And I'm not talking about my teenage years. I'm in my early 20s at this point. Or like probably just 1920, but you always go to the mall and you would shop. I mean, you didn't do online shopping. There was none of that. So you were always at the mall. Like if you needed to go pick up something, that's where you went. So we just walked into the mall and we were walking past an EB Games at the time. I think it was EB Games. It might've been a Software, etc. I can't remember which one, but we happened to walk in and I'm like, I always got to stop in and take a look at the game. So, we make a detour, we stop in. And all of a sudden, I turn the corner, and here on the wall, the guys are just putting up the Sega Saturn boxes. They're just putting them up on the wall. And I'm like, what? I'm like, the Saturn launched? And they're like, yeah, we're as surprised as you are. And they're like, the shipment just showed up, and our corporate office told us just to put it up and display. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, can you sell them? And he's like, yep. So I'm like, all right. Totally unexpected. Lucky.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. That's the way that's the way I've rolled. I mean, like, but it was because it was so secret, because it was so surprising. I looked at the girlfriend and I was like, I'm like, can we do this? I mean, are we good? And she's like, I mean, yeah, if you want to. I'm like, okay. So wound up dropping I don't remember, like $400, $500 that day. Bought up all the games, bought up the Sega Saturn, extra controller, and walked out of the store like complete surprise. It was crazy. Yeah, the Sega Saturn, how Sega handled it was the beginning of the downfall for them. They just, in a lot of ways, they kind of, with the Saturn, they tried that whole new technology stuff, and they were trying to get tricky with what they were using on the internals, and a lot like PS3 with the cell processor, and the devs hated it. They hated developing for it. And obviously the base, the player base just wasn't there because they didn't sell a lot of units. I mean, it wasn't a big seller. So, that started their downfall. I still remember Dreamcast launch like it was yesterday. Dreamcast launch was beautiful. They did a fantastic job with the system. Had they just priced it a little bit more competitively, and had they pumped up the marketing, but see, they just didn't have the money to support it like they should have originally. It might have been one of the biggest console sellers of all time had they actually done it properly, because the system, anybody who touched the Dreamcast loved it. Anybody who came over and played a game on my system absolutely died loving it. And I know many people bought it just because they stopped over at our apartment and played it.
Oh, so that's a good story. So I've never heard of a story like that yet. I was out shopping and I turned my head around the corner and there it was. The console launched.
Hey, same thing happened at Atari Jaguar. Same thing. Same thing.
Really?
Walked into the store, saw the Jaguar, and I was like, what? This thing, I mean, again, people forget because we get all of our news basically instantly now, right? So it's hard to have a secret nowadays. It's hard to have a surprise launch. It's hard to have anything like that happen. But back in the day, you were waiting for next month's magazine just to catch up on 2-month-old news. I mean, yeah, it is true.
People forget this.
Yeah.
We live in an instant world,
Yeah.
where you could just type on your phone and it's at your fingertips. It didn't used to be.
Right. Or something happens, it pops up in your Twitter feed and you're like, oh, I mean, look at the launches of this, of next gen. I mean, look at the PS5 launch. Like they're out there saying, no, you guys got until tomorrow. And then all of a sudden on Twitter, it's like, no, actually, Walmart and GameStop have opened up their orders. You better get in there now. I mean, I left work early just because I got the news on my Twitter feed just to go pre-order.
Yeah, I mean, they did actually make reference because Jeff Keighley was saying, oh, no, you'll get plenty of time.
Yeah.
Well, you'd expect 2 weeks or something. All right, this is launching.
Right.
Here's the date. But no.
Right. But without the social media, nobody would have known unless they were lucky enough to walk in the store that day. And one of the clerks said, hey, we're taking pre-orders for PS5. That's the way it would have been back in the old, our days.
No, you're right about that. But yeah, it's game. See, so what everyone's saying, GameStop's been saved, right? But I know it's related. But the problem is with GameStop, they bragged at how their company's been saved.
Right.
Had that console launch not come out, they'd be dead in the water. And I still think GameStop's demise is still coming. It's just been they've just been saved for a bit longer. If GameStop think they're going to be around again forever, dominate again, they're not.
There's a couple things that could happen. I think your scenario is most likely right. They're going to have to do a major rebranding and come up with a completely different strategy. And there's a couple different areas they probably could do that in, but it would not be the GameStop of old. The other big one is if, and this is a big if, Microsoft becomes the first domino, since they are invested now in a way, partnership invested, however you want to say it, with GameStop. And they obviously think the brick and mortar store is still somewhat important in a lot of ways. If they allow digital trade-ins, if they figure out a system that they can make that happen where somebody can get at least some kind of credit for a digital game, it would prolong their existence if they could do it.
It might, but I just can't see it. The problem is, although it's nice what you said that GameStop think that they're important, but they don't. They will just use this Microsoft deal simply to get Xbox to be priority places in the store.
Correct. But that means they still think they're important, right?
Exactly.
They're important enough to cut a deal where they want their stuff at the front of the store.
I don't think it's big money, though, because they were talking about if you buy your console in store, you buy it in store. When you buy games in, is this right? In the actual Xbox store online, that they know that console was bought. And is this right in the shop, and they give that shop a cut? Is that?
Supposedly, that's what I've heard too. But here's the deal: when I went to pick up my Series X on launch day, because I bought it at GameStop physically at the store, So when I went to pick up that Series X, their system would not accept the serial numbers for the Series X.
Really?
They had some kind of problem, and the guy told me behind the counter because he's like, hey, we're not going to have a record of what Series X you purchased here because our system is not accepting the serial numbers. You're going to have to hold on to your receipt in case anything happens or take a picture of it because there's going to be no record of your serial number.
Really?
Yep. So if that's the case, they're not getting credit for those guys out the door. I can tell you that much.
That's not good, is it?
No.
No, that's not. Well, we got like a game. It's not GameStop, it's Game.
Yep.
They're not owned by them, they're equivalent. And they're kind of the same. They like to push games on you and stuff, and they kind of sell more, T-shirts and Funko Pops and old phones, and they do game. They sell games. I'm just saying that they push the other stuff more. I've not been in one in years, but they're folding as well. They are.
And again, that's kind of the same as what GameStop's done here. I mean, the Funko Pops and all that stuff, and they could really. That market is still growing, and I'm not just talking about Funko Pops because I'm not a Funko Pop guy. I don't care, but statues, all the memorabilia that goes along with gaming is still gaining popularity. So collector's editions are hotter than ever. All that kind of stuff is something they could definitely transition to if there's an issue, and they could become a more like video game collectible shop. Not that they could keep the same amount of stores they have now or all that stuff. They would have to downsize, but it could still be around. And for me, I still like going physically into a store, even though I don't purchase physical games as much as I used to by any stretch of the imagination. I still like going into a physical store and seeing things. I would still like holding things. I'm a big, book guy, and I love I've got a ton of books on my, on my Kindle, but I still love physical books. And there's still something about going into a game store. Some of it is nostalgia, and I get it. I'm an older guy. We all start to go through, or most of us start to go through that, where we think about the good old days. We never think we are, but we do it. But, I used to work for Funkoland before it became GameStop. So I actually met the owner of Funkoland because he was from up here. And so Funkoland to me is still a living memory in my head. And that was a fantastic experience. Funkoland back in the day, in the early days before it became corporatized with GameStop, was a real video game family kind of experience, where people would show up, all of your customers, kind of like comic book stores back in the day. All your regular customers, know them by their names. They'd come in, they'd hang out, they'd chit chat with you. They'd hang out at all the different stations and play all the new games, etc. Funkoland was a cool place to work and to go to. Just like everything else, it gets corporatized, it gets big. Stuff changes, but there's still something special to me about going into a physical store.
Yeah, no, I like that way of thinking. But did you used to go in and test the stuff?
Oh yeah,
they make out they know it all, and then you find out they don't know jack shit.
Yeah, of course.
You used to do that?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, anybody who's spent time in a store, it doesn't matter what kind of store it is, right? It doesn't matter what you're shopping for. At least in my experience, I think a lot of people test, the clerks and the reps and whatever else, and try to see exactly who you're dealing with and whether or not they know what they're talking about. For sure. I've been tested in some of my jobs as a salesman. So, I mean, again, I learned really early on in my career not to BS anybody, because people are going to catch you real quick. So if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know it. And if I say, I think I do remember that, that's because I think I really do remember that, but I'm not going to come out and say, oh yeah, absolutely, that was the best ever. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, definitely I've been there, done that on both sides.
Fair enough. Yes, Mav, you are correct. The digital trading, that's what they tried to do in 2013.
Yes.
And the online, always online.
Yep.
That is a thing now. Obviously, you don't know it though, but there's a lot of games through Xbox that do not work without a connection.
Correct.
Even if you play in the campaign,
Yep.
Game
Even if you have the disc, the physical disc, it doesn't matter. The physical disc is just a license.
Because it's like, it was years ago, there was an outrage about this. And like on Reddit, a developer laughed, obviously under a fake name, and said, "There's nothing you can do to stop this because developers just put one line of code. They put some code into a game, and Xbox can't stop it, or PlayStation can't. No one can stop it.
Right, right.
And they said this will happen to every game eventually.
Yeah, well, of course it will.
Yeah.
Well, you remember back in the day when the DLC first started, and it was all the. Remember, we used to have the arguments, or people would used to gripe online if all the DLC was on the disc, and you had to pay money just to unlock something that was already on the disc. And there was people complaining about that, saying that was wrong. Well, that if it's on the disc and I purchased the disc, that I should have access to it.
Well, Destiny used to when Destiny 1. You have the game, there'd be a big patch come out, massive one.
Yeah.
And then we would find out that the actual update was the DLC that was locked into the into the game, you know.
Yep. And people were outraged. You know, but that's standard now. I mean, that's standard. When you go to your downloads, if you get DLC, it's like 40 megabytes or whatever because it's already on the disc. And all it is one little patch that opens it up.
Yeah, people at the world it's laughs, but 2013 was a different time, and it was
completely.
It was a thing that PlayStation historically, what they do is at E3. A lot of people don't agree with me, but they do. In 2013 and before 2013, and every year usually, obviously not in this pandemic world. Before that, when it was still going, historically, Xbox, PlayStation let Xbox go first. And they watch their entire conference.
Right.
And then they rejig it. And that's what they did in 2013.
Yes. Right. I mean, I saw Darth Praxis put that in the comments. Yeah, that's correct. They were going to do the same thing.
From what I understand, PlayStation were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They seen their reaction, and then they changed the course.
Yep. And kudos to them for doing that. I mean, again, that's part of business strategy. That's when people complain that Xbox is just copying PlayStation if they're going to put more features in the controller. That's just part of business. You let the competition make the mistakes. You see what they do good and you copy that, but you leave behind the mistakes and it doesn't cost you as much. So that year, Sony decided to sit back and watch it because they probably had word that Microsoft was thinking about the same type of DRM program and that they had kind of the same strategy going in. So they sat back and let Microsoft put it out there first. And guess what? They capitalized. They scrapped their own ideas.
They video.
They flipped. Yeah, I was just going to say with Yoshida. Yeah, exactly. This is how you trade games on PlayStation, or this is how you borrow games to your friends on PlayStation. It was genius. It was brilliant. Kudos to them. It was huge. It was awesome. But again, Microsoft didn't read the room. And Sony wasn't reading the room either where people were at with all the online stuff. We can look back at it now and go, God, it would have been kind of cool to have all that ability. But GameStop would be dead today. Had that
would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, it would have been dead completely 100% if that had actually happened. So, but yeah, we can look back and say now, well, yeah, sure. I mean, that was forward thinking, but it was their messaging. And it's with Microsoft, it's always about their messaging. They never have either A, clear message, or B, they explain it in a way that people twist and turn everything around and make it something bad. And they don't go to the next level to avoid that and to stop people from doing that. And then they just lose control. It becomes a wildfire and it's out of control. So, that's something that continues to happen to this day, as we just saw this week. So
I agree. Welcome, Mr. Tushi. Welcome, Abish, and welcome to Darth Praxis. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. But yeah, it's like Connect went away, but then it's like when you look back and give it some perspective, like because they believed that obviously Connect was watching you all the time.
Right
now, it's laughable because you've got a phone where
we know
potentially someone could be listening to everything you do,
and we know it is because it pops up all the time. How many times have you talked to somebody around you, Stubbs, and all of a sudden you get ads for that subject and you never once typed it into Google?
I know.
Exactly. It happens to me and my wife all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
especially when we were like, my missus was pregnant twice, and when you talk about it and you look it up and that, and you start to get baby stuff and that, and that tells you it's doing it. But I mean, we're all worried. But Connect is still being used this day. Microsoft said it corporately to spy on people at airports. Now it's been spotted at airports. It's actually Connect, but obviously heavily upgraded,
Modified.
modified. But that's basically what it is. An early version of Connect. They've obviously heavily modified it and made it into, a serious piece of kit now.
Right.
I don't imagine it's been sold. I bet it's been sold for thousands, not for, not cheaply.
Right. Exactly. No, I mean, and again, people were right to be up in arms about privacy. It's just at that time, we should all be more aware of our privacy, but we've already sold out in so many ways to so many different pieces of tech right now.
Oh, nice.
That we're on the losing side of a battle that's already been won when it comes to privacy. Unless something major happens, and unless there's a huge shift worldwide, basically you could never expect to be completely private ever again, unless you're going to move to the woods of Alaska and cut yourself off from all electronics. I mean, that's really what we're coming down to at this point.
Hey, what VJ? He's not very up with technology. Do you know VJ doesn't own a phone?
Yes, I heard him say that on a podcast a couple of times. I can't believe it.
He speaks to me because we ring each other quite regular, and I do ring a phone, but it's not his wife's.
That's why I still think my conspiracy about VJ is he's actually a secret agent and he's off grid. And he wants nobody to be able to find him. And he just likes talking about gaming. So he showed up in the community. I still think there's something about that guy.
VJ's been requested to come on this show, but I don't think I'll ever get VJ on. I
probably like one-on-one.
Probably have to have Mr. Tushi on with me or someone like that.
Yeah, he doesn't like one-on-one.
No.
He stated that. Like we talked about in the beginning, some people's comfort level just isn't there. It's intimidating.
Huh? I'm fine if people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have asked certain community members to come on, and they just said that they're not interested in coming on podcasts, which is fair enough. You don't have to go on one if you don't want to. It's your choice.
Right.
It's like your choice to go on podcasts, and now you've done very well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So you mentioned, well, you can answer it or not answer it. What made your job? What made you get into that into sales? Because you've been in it 25 years.
Yeah, sales and finance. It was something that I made it. Let's put it. Okay, let's start from the beginning.
You don't have to say you work for, by the way.
No, I won't do that. But so when I was a kid, when I was a teenager and stuff, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do. I was originally going. I was accepted to Arizona State. And I was going to go there for journalism, and I really wanted to get into to sports, into the media. Okay. And so back then, well, still to this day, I'm a guy who follows his heart more than his common sense. So I wound up not going to college because I fell in love. So I stayed here instead of leaving for college, right? So that kind of started my path. So then what do? Then you get into the rat race, right? So then you got to decide what you want to do. Well, I was working for my uncle at the time at a license bureau where people come for their driver's licenses and car tabs and stuff, car registration. So I was working there. So I had already from age, basically I started working there when I was 15. So I had already been used to talking to people because that's face to face, right? That's one-on-one. You got to talk to strangers all day long. People who are upset, people who are mad, people who are happy. It doesn't matter. You're talking to them and it's me across the table, right? The countertop. So I got used to people talking to people in the face to face. And then I had some friends who were in the financial sectors, who said, you know what, you'd be great over the phone. So why don't you come over and try this? You can make a lot more money. I didn't have anything going on at the time. So I was like, hey, why not? Let's try this out. So I did that. and I found out that I got pretty good at it. I had some great mentors in the beginning, some great people who had already been in the industry for a while, and they taught me the ropes, and caught on quickly, and I did pretty well for myself. And so it was an easy job for me to do. And there was points in my life, not so much anymore, where I was making really, really good money. And being a 20-year-old, then I met my first wife and helped raise my son, which she already had, but he was only 3 months old when we moved in together. So, it was just good for both of us. We were both in the industry. We both did really well. I enjoyed talking to people on the phone. Back then, there were some differences than now with regulations and that kind of stuff, but it was fun. It was an enjoyable job, and I loved it. And I had a good group of people, a good group of friends that we were all in the business, and we just hung out. So that's kind of how it went. So here I am.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. It's a nice story on how you got into it.
Yeah.
It's not a job I could do, but
no. It's not for everybody.
You want these people where they're saying you could sell. What's that? Eskimos. That saying.
you could sell ice to Eskimos.
Yeah, you one of them people.
No, I do not put myself up there. I did not have. How did I put this? It's my flaw. I go back. I'm a flawed human being, as most of us are, but my flaws lie in my personality type. So my dedication to the craft isn't to that level, right? I never loved doing it, right? It was easy for me and I was good at it, but I never loved doing it. So therefore I never had the dedication to take myself to the next level. Can I have my moments where I can certainly do that, where I've sold somebody that was absolutely not going to buy something? Oh, yes. I've done that plenty of times, right? But on a consistent basis, like, am I one of those guys that everybody like, wow, that's the type of salesman you want? No, I'm not that guy. I'm the average one, a little bit above average guy that just gets the job done, does what he needs to do, and then goes home. I don't have the dedication to the craft.
Well, no, that's good. Yeah. You don't have to be like that, because
but I wish
some people like are obsessed with their jobs and like, do you know what I mean? They have an obsession with a job, and that's good if you like that. But some people take your jobs too seriously. Obviously, you have to take your job seriously. It's work.
Yeah.
But
you
made a good living. You make a good living anyway.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a lot of mistakes and just a lot of different ways. I think just like everybody else, or not everybody else, because some people swear they would never go back and do it over again. But, if I could take the knowledge back with me, I'd clean up a lot of my stuff, and I'd be in a completely different spot than I am now, in a lot of ways. But at the same time, that's not how life works. And, we all have our paths, and we all have our decisions that we make in life. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. And we all have our personality quirks, and some of those personality quirks wind up holding some of us back. And, for me, I've embraced my quirks. I've tried to work on some of them when it comes to it, just to give myself a better life. As we get older, I think we realize more and more what that's about and why it's important. But at the same time, I'm just not one of those guys who's ever going to be looked at and be like, wow, he's just nonstop, goes out there and just, 200% effort every single day. No, that's just not me. It's just not in me to do that. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm satisfied. I've got a lot to work on. I think I will be continuing to improve myself until the day I die, because I think the day that you stop learning is the day that is truly over with. So I'm going to be working on myself and things forever. I just, never in my profession did I take myself to that level. That's all.
Well, it's good to hear. Very good to hear the way you've built your career up, and you're happy with it, and you've made money. It's the main. That's all that happened. That's all that matters. That you put food on the table. You know what I mean?
Correct.
At the end of the day.
Correct. I've been lucky enough to do that, even through everything that's going on right now. Every day I wake up thankful that in my industry, at least, I still have a job. It's suffering because my job depends upon other people having income and having money. So my job is suffering as well. Again, a lot of my job is based on commissions, and when other people don't have money, that means I'm not getting money. So it's been tough, but every day I know it could be a lot worse. And every day I know there's people out there who have lost everything because of everything that's going on. And I'm still here. My wife is still working, and everything's still okay. It may not be the best, but it's okay. And I'm grateful for that, for sure.
That's good to hear. That is. But Caitlin made an interesting comment in chat. Wow. It's like listening to Mav. What's she put? I'm guessing you two may have had similar career paths. You know?
Right, maybe. I did see Mav say that he thinks we're probably the same person. I think a lot of people are in that position. I think more people than more people than you think. I mean, again, there's just some people, that just fall in that mode. Again, we don't necessarily strive. I wish I did, because I know I could be in at least financially, and I know that's not everything, but let's all be real. Financially, it is a big part of life, unfortunately, that we have to deal with. And I could be in a better spot if I was more of that person. But at the same time, at this age, I've come to accept who I am. Again, I'll work on who I am and try to be better. But at the same point, I just realized, hey, that just wasn't me, and that's okay. So
that's good. And also, confirmation, Infinite. Did you hear me crack a can open?
I did hear you do that.
Just to disappoint you, Infinite. A can of diet lemonade, just so it was not a beer. I don't drink very often anymore. I don't like to, because obviously I've got to walk upstairs to bed, and I'm still adjusting to walking. So me falling over because I've drunk isn't wise. So
no, not in your position, sir. How is your knee, by the way?
Yeah, it's doing well. The main thing I'm problems with is standing up for long periods and walking.
Right.
It's not the walking bit, it's the back. I've lost the back strength. I've got to try and build, the back strength up. That's the problem. I should be back working in about 3 weeks' time, but obviously...
Oh, that's good.
But the job I'm in...
Yeah.
A drive around in a van all day. I'm a pest controller, you see. I work with my dad. So when I do go back to work, I won't be doing a lot anyway. Just cruising around in the van with him for a bit, so I get used to working properly,
Well, yeah, because pest control, you got to be like bending down and doing sorts of crazy stuff, right? In most locations.
I tell you something now. That's true, and I'm not a sweat at the minute, but pest controlling is one of the easiest jobs I've ever had.
Really?
I'm actually. It's a company where I'm set to take over.
Okay.
When my dad retires, it's only me and him.
Right.
So I take over the family business, and I've worked
for you.
Up to last year. I worked in a dead end job for 16 years. Now, I'm not saying that's bad to anyone that's in that situation. Fair enough, but
job's a job.
Dad wanted to bring me in, so I'm actually a director as well. Not a director with shares yet, but that's what I'll be doing. And it's very pest control. 99% of the time is easy work. It's not very hard.
If you could deal with the creepy crawlies.
You don't often have to do it, because what you do is you put your bait points down.
Yeah.
And what happens is, if 90% of the time obviously they work. And what happens is they take the bait. Well, it's food bait. It tastes like food.
Right.
They take it back with them or chew it, and over time it kills them.
Right.
Now, a lot of the time they go and die in their home. You see.
Sure.
But if obviously a customer rings up and there's a dead rat, we have to go and remove it. We do. And you just use a litter picker, and you chuck it straight in the bag, and you dispose of it. But the majority, so we deal in death, basically. That's our game.
What's the biggest infestation you've ever had to deal with, or your dad's had to deal with? Have you ever had like a big giant like beehive, like wasp, like in the walls or anything like that, or cockroaches or anything? I don't know what's over there, but
we don't have wasp nest. Sorry, I'm not going to answer that question for Indy. There's only cockroaches in a certain part of England.
Okay.
And we don't get them here. But when I've done my training, you have to cover German cockroaches because they're here.
Oh.
I don't generally. We mainly deal with rats, mice, moths,
Okay.
and bed bugs. Bed bugs are very It's a 30-day cycle because customers think you can come in, vaporize a lot of them. It's not. You have to
Go back.
the house spraying a chemical.
Yep.
And because they can hide in light switches, and you have to tell the customer to pull beds apart and everything. It's usually sometimes we have to make a second visit, but not very often. But
how do you avoid bringing them back with you?
Well, we spray our. They don't ever get on our shoe. You see, usually.
Okay.
And, we can spray our shoe if we need.
Oh yeah. No, I was thinking that. I was just thinking if you brought them home, like on your clothes or whatever.
Wasp nest. Now, wasp nest. Indeed.
Yeah.
Massive, mate. Massive. I've done one where. It was fucking. Can you imagine standing there thinking this wasp nest isn't very big? On top of we don't use ladders. The pest control don't use ladders. Just so you know, there is people around in my area I've seen on Facebook post a picture, and I thought, you bloody muppet. We've got poles in our industry now. You don't have to go near the nests,
right?
But I thought this ain't big. 1,000 wasps came out of it, and there were thousands of them. They didn't come for me. I have been stung, by the way, and they have come for me. Obviously, I've got a beehive suit now, so they can't get me at all. But most wasps don't. As I say, don't generally. They're irritated, so they will go for you. And they basically, what happens is you kill the nest,
right?
And there's guards at the door.
Yep.
When the guards are dead, you can't go in. So they actually congregate at the door, trying to go in, but they can't go in because without permission of the leader, they're not allowed to go in because in the hierarchy, they're all clones. You see, all the men are clones. They're just clones of each other.
Yep.
And queen, they protect. And if you don't look like the clone of that one, they will bite your head off, and that's why they won't go in. That's the hierarchy.
Right. Okay.
That's how it works.
Huh. It fascinates me. Insects fascinate me.
Very funny. But no, bees, it's a very big subject. There isn't legislation. They're not illegal to kill bees. There's a big myth in Britain. It's not. There's just rules around, guidelines around it.
Is that for the honeybees so they don't kill off the pollinators?
Yeah, you can kill them. What it is say for instance, they were in your wall and they were effectively near your front door, and just for clarification, there isn't a machine you can suck out of a hole so a beekeeper can come. A beekeeper, we contact a lot of them. They want it so they can actually just get the beehive and take it easily. They're not going to smash someone's wall up to get it. You know. So 90% of the cases you can't get them. Right. Say for instance they're a danger to you or your children, then you can basically kill the nest.
Okay.
What you have to do is kill the nest, and you have to come back in the morning, and you have to seal the nest up. You never remove the nest. You have to seal it up because now this is the topic you just mentioned about killing other colonies.
Yeah.
Other bees can smell it.
Right.
So it stops other bees raiding that nest.
Okay.
You seal the hole, and then that sorts it.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people against people killing bees. We're not allowed to advertise you kill bees.
Okay.
When people ring us, they tell us, oh, you got bees, and we turn up and they're not bees, they're wasps. Oh, okay. Well, you know. But no, wasps are pretty standard. You can make enough money. If you're a business, you can make about sometimes a year's wages in the summer just alone off wasp nests alone.
I believe that.
It's big money.
Yeah.
It is. But now a lot of hornets. Now there's a thing about hornets. This is one thing you may not know about hornets. They don't attack you. Hornets don't have a tendency. They are scary. They are big, and if they sting you, they will hurt you.
You're just saying they're non-aggressive.
They're non-aggressive. They will not attack you.
Okay.
Unless you swing a punch at it, or unless you do something to aggravate,
which we all do.
They will not. It's in the course. They will not. The science, because all our information is based off scientists.
Yeah,
it's all based off scientific data, and they don't attack you. But if someone wants us to eliminate a hornet's nest, we do it. And they are scary. They're massive things. They are intimidating.
Yeah,
they are. But they don't generally bury in houses. They're generally in woods and trees and stuff.
Yep.
But no, sorry about that. I got derailed there. But
no, I love it. That's why I asked you. I find insects fascinating. The insect world is crazy, and I want to hear your thoughts because I think it's super cool.
It's when someone says, "Do you know what fly this is?" The problem is, there's like a fly, and there's like 1,000 subsects of that fly.
Right.
You can get like the beetle fly. You can get a tobacco fly. You can get this. And beetles is a subset of beetles, and it's thousands. And literally, what you got to do is there's like a microscope, and you have to get what the body looks like. And we've got a big book full of all of it, and you just got to get the closest to what it is to find out how to, effectively treat it. Because you can't. There's that many you never can be sure. You can take a good guess at it, but because there's thousands of each one, all with different names that look very similar, that's the problem.
Right. Well, of course. But you got to know your stuff, right? So you got to kind of know what you're dealing with, because each one could be different, even though they're similar, or even though they're in the same family, right? So they could all be different. Do you guys have paper wasps over there?
I've never heard of them.
Okay. Okay. Let me explain them to you, because they're probably just called by a different name. We call them paper wasp here. So they're black. They're pure black, except for they got a white back.
Do you mean ones that look like wasps but don't sting you? They look like wasps.
No, these ones build hives that look like paper mache. You know paper mache?
All wasp nests are like that. They're all paper.
Yeah, but these ones are very specific because of how it actually. I know what you're talking, and I get it. It's hard to describe, but yeah, they're pure black, but they have a white back, and they are big. They are big, and they build giant hives that look like paper mache. I mean, it really looks like paper on the outside. And I know a lot of hives have that look, but these ones are very smooth. Like they are like pristine. Those guys are crazy here. So, but they're aggressive.
It might be called a different name.
Yeah, it's probably called a different name.
They are the same name globally because they use Italian, but that no one uses the real name of each.
Right. Come up with crazy names. Yeah,
no, they use a Latin word. Everyone uses around the world, but people can't remember the Latin names, and they've all got a Latin name, and they're universal around the world. They are, but not everyone can remember them. Yeah, welcome, Double Tote. Yeah, talk about pest control. Anyway, let's get back to gaming. I've got derailed, but yeah. It's interesting after being in a dead-end job for years. I've now got a business it's not mine yet, but one day it will be.
Yeah, it's going to be. So
if someone said to me, locally, I can find your address. I said, go on then.
It's a family business, so you can call
No, they can't. That's just, it says you live in so-and-so. Yeah. It's my accountant's address. Oh, right. I said, it's my tax address. Because I'm not a director, I can be found, but it only shows you my business address of my accountancy,
right?
Where I'm registered at, and that's all it shows. It's for tax purposes. I don't dodge it, but that's where my tax address is.
Oh, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
I don't personally pay my tax or anything. The company pays it for me. I don't. It doesn't come out of wages. Very lucky in that way.
That's nice. Yeah, no, that's the way you got to do it. Use those businesses to the fullest. You got to take all advantages that you can.
Everyone else does it.
Yep.
But no, but yeah. So what would you? Let's get back to gaming now.
Are you sure you want to go back to gaming? All right, let's go.
The best show, yeah. You got a bit of pest control in there too. So, right. What would you say your favourite retro controller was? I know Dreamcast, but was the Dreamcast controller your favourite? Because some people have favourite consoles that are retro, but if you were to ask them what is their favourite retro, they say something different.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question, actually. I don't know if I've ever thought about the retro controllers. I did like the Dreamcast controller, obviously with the joystick placement. Microsoft looked at that, which was nice. I did like it, but if you're going to be honest with the VMU and stuff, it was a little bulky. It was comfortable for its size. It was lightweight, especially without the VMU. That thing was light as air, which some people don't like, but I don't mind it, especially for long gaming sessions. So Dreamcast controller was good. This is a really good question, Stubbs. Now I gotta think back. You know what? Really? Again, it's so hard because different generations had different features, right? So we didn't have the joysticks back in the day, and I love the joysticks, but we didn't need the joysticks per se, because even now, if I play a retro game, I go back to the D-pad. If I play a fighting game, I go back to the D-pad, right? I don't use those joysticks. I would probably say if I had to go retro, I would say the Sega Saturn. It was an upgraded version of the Genesis, right? Had the same basic design. You had 6 buttons. You had the bumpers, and you had a great D-pad. And I love that D-pad. I played a lot of shumps back in the day, shoot 'em ups, and bullet hells stuff. And that D-pad was spectacular. I love that thing. So I would probably say the Sega Saturn.
Good to hear. Yeah. Sega. I like Sega.
Oh, Sega fanboy for life. I mean, it's sad to think about where they are now. I have a hard time now because they have so many great IPs that they have.
They're not even a lot of people. If you look up Sega, although they go down as Sega, if you actually look at what Sega's called, not called Sega, they're called Sega Sammy.
Yeah, Sega Sammy, because they merged.
A lot of people don't know that. So, like, a lot of people, Xbox acquired it. It's not that hard because you would have to unmerge them from the other company.
Yep, because Sammy's into everything else, into the
ultimate fanboy Sega.
Well, they've got their pachinko machines and everything else that involved in that business. Although they've kind of divested themselves from that now. So
his son's running the firm now, isn't he?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, if you look into it, it's his son, and I believe that's why they've got a good relationship with Xbox, because his son's trying to prove he can do a good job. He's got a big deal with a big American company. The company's getting a lot of financial help from Xbox, and I believe that's why they're in with Sega. Someone new. It's not the original one running it.
Right. Yep. Can you imagine had Microsoft gone through with the plans to implement a Dreamcast emulator into their Xbox? They had plans to do that. They were in talks with Sega. Can you imagine? Yes. Can you imagine if they had gone through?
Wow. It would have been a different story now.
Oh, it would have been spectacular. Oh, man. Yep. Another wasted opportunity.
It was, yeah. I will get to the question 3-bit was talking about there.
Yeah.
I will get to that. I just got some more questions. What would be your favorite? There you go, then. Modern day. And I've got a recurring theme in my shows recently. I'm not telling you the answer, but what's your favorite controller current day?
Series X. Series X. I haven't had a chance to hold a DualSense yet. I've heard it's definitely an upgrade, but the offset sticks, I don't think for me anything will beat that. The offset sticks are the prime reason why I've loved every single, Xbox controller since the 360. I think it's the best design that anybody's come up with, period, hands down. So, and the Series X takes it to another level. I love the feel of it. I've had 10, 12-hour gaming sessions with the Series X already, and my hands don't hurt at all. It's beautiful. It's a perfect controller to me.
I actually also agree with this because I purchased a second. I've got an Xbox One upstairs as well, and I play on that. And I went to play after playing on the Series X on that controller, how nice it felt. To going upstairs, and this is rubbish. So I bought locally. Someone was selling one on Facebook, brand new, £35.
Wow.
Mum, she says that's cheap.
Yep.
So she bought it. So we bought it for upstairs. And brand nothing wrong with it. I don't know how she got hold of it or what, or whether they bought it extra. I don't know, but it was cheap. But yes, yeah. A lot of people have been saying the Elite 2. I haven't got an Elite, but a lot of people have been saying that the Elite 2.
I played with the Elite one at a buddy's house, and I definitely liked it. Obviously, I didn't have a chance to customize it myself. I did like the underneath paddles, and I kind of wish that the back paddles. I kind of wish Microsoft would have gone ahead and put that into the Series X. I think that's one feature that they could have added that wouldn't have been a huge cost factor, that a lot of people would have been like, yes, this is awesome. Because anybody who's played with an Elite, especially when you're on your shooters and kind of stuff, those back paddles are fantastic. But overall, still the weight, just the feel of the regular Series X controller is by far the best so far for me.
Yeah, that's good to hear because I was a critic of it. I was like, oh yeah, it don't do a lot and all that. And then I got one, and I can't tell you what they do, but it feels better, low latency and all that. It feels like it's a big upgrade.
The latency is huge. I don't care what anybody says.
Apparently, you don't need because obviously in shooters people say, oh, it's best to be wired, but apparently with this low latency tech, the wire's not needed.
Nope.
Apparently.
Nope. It's definitely not. It's a beautiful feature, and it's underappreciated. And I didn't even think I was going to notice it. Like when I started reading the tech, I was like, this is cool. I'm glad Microsoft is working on this. Obviously, everybody nowadays who's especially the hardcore gamers, we all know about latency and stuff and how it affects, and us old time gamers who have come through all these decades, have seen it, dramatically reduced. But I didn't think I was actually going to see, whatever milliseconds they were talking about. But you definitely see and feel it on screen when you're playing with the Series X. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, it is good. Welcome, HGK. Thanks for stopping by, mate. But no, yeah, a lot of people have been saying the Series X, but also a lot of people have been saying the Elite 2.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's something I could ever justify,
No.
It's not.
No, I can't. I'm not competitive enough to justify that. I mean, I understand why people do it, and more power to you, man. You got the you got the funds to go do it. If I had the funds, I probably would do it. But for me, the base controller is good enough. I don't need all of it.
Yeah, no, you are right. I mean, to be fair, if you were that good, you wouldn't. If you were as good as you say you could, you wouldn't need a better controller. It should be beast anyway, shouldn't you?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. If you ever play with 3-bit, I think 3-bit's playing on a base controller, and obviously he's ridiculous. So
yeah, I've heard if it's a bit of a challenge in Gears 5, just like Steel Rain. I've still got to play them.
Yeah,
I haven't, but I hear they're very good. See, some people are just have this natural ability to be good at any shooting game they put their hand to.
Correct.
And some people haven't. Some people have to take a lot of skill. You know what I mean?
Games are just like anything else in life. Some people are just naturally talented in certain areas, and some people do. Some people have that hand-eye coordination. Some people are masters at Tetris. Like I'm terrible at Tetris. I love the new one because I love the music, but I'm playing on beginner, and I still can't beat the campaign, right? The story mode. So I just can't do it. Like I don't even think in my prime I could beat it. It's just not me. Seeing the shapes, I can see them, but I can't see them quick enough to make the adjustments on screen to get it to work the way that some people do. So yeah, I think you're right. There are people that are talented in fighters. I'm a butt masher in fighters. I don't care. I'm never going to spend the time to learn all the moves. don't care. I still enjoy them, but I'm never going to be technical like that, right? Shooters, I'm okay at. I got good hand-eye coordination, so I'm decent at shooters. I can get good if I play them all the time, but it takes time. It takes repetition in those. It takes learning the maps. Again,
it does. It's like I always say it because I play a lot of Gears now. I made a point of it because Mr. Tucci versus Stubbs will happen. It's just
right.
we got an NLG this week and what happened, and it didn't happen. But I'm trying to arrange it maybe sometime this week or next weekend.
Well, just for the record, I voted you, Stubbs. So just for the record, I voted you.
Here you voted for me. Indie Gamer voted for me, and Animated Evil voted for me. Now I can't tell you who else voted for me, but based off of community, I'm a bit disappointed. I've obviously got to show them how good I am.
You know? Yeah, you do. You got to prove it, I guess. But
if you were to say versus like Crispy or versus 3-bit, versus Still Rain, I'm going to say no. I wouldn't win.
Right.
But yeah, I'll get to some podcast now. Did you ask to go on a podcast, or did someone say, "Hey Pong, do you fancy coming on to a podcast?" Or is it something you wanted to try? What was why did you want to give it a go?
I was asked. I was asked, like I told you, when we were talking about the confidence thing or whatever, approaching people. I was never going to approach anybody to be on a show. I still haven't to this day. Any show I've been on is because either A, somebody else has suggested me, or B, one of the content creators actually reached out to me to be on. So for me, I got reached out. I was just asked if I wanted to come on. So that's what I did.
Who was it?
Our good friend, Graphic Ed, Jay. He invited me. Yep, he invited me on to Retro Renegades. So
one of my favorite shows. I've got one of their T-shirts. I have.
Yeah, and I couldn't ask for a better experience as my first time going on. And again, I can talk. I don't have a problem. I wasn't like nervous to go on, but it's an unstructured. I mean, Jay doesn't even like to call it a podcast, right? It's just a show.
Yeah, do not call it a podcast.
Yep. It's just a show. It's just a show. It's just a bunch of guys, guys and gals hanging out, having a good time, right? That's all it is. And they talk about everything. So I could not have picked a better first time show to go on because it's such a relaxed atmosphere. There's no structure, and we're just sitting around, shooting the shit. That's all we're doing. Right. So
it is how I describe it. And Jay likes my description of it. I call it a big Xbox Live party. And in America, there's a big saying, well, you shoot the shit. And they play games and they drink beer,
Yep.
That's what Jay does while he's playing.
I know. It's awesome.
But yeah, no, I didn't know that was your first first show to go on.
Yeah.
And they called it podcast then.
Yeah.
No, because I always remember when Xbox 448 came on, and it was really funny because he didn't like the fact there weren't no topics. And he kept trying to come up with topics, and he kept getting derailed.
Right.
Within seconds, he was being derailed.
Of course. With that group, are you kidding me? Depending on who's on what night, are you kidding me? With Crispy and all those guys.
Yeah. There's never easy. So I'll give up.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. But no, it was awesome, and I appreciate Jay for giving me the opportunity, or for asking me, because again, I had no intentions of doing this. None. Zero. It wasn't even in my thought process whatsoever that I would ever go on a show ever. So, when he asked me, I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, sure. Let's make it happen. Let's do it. Why not? It'll be fun. I'll get one done and say that I did a podcast. Right.
Yeah.
And from there, here we are, 2021. So.
Well, no, it's good that you liked it because, where was it? I like going on podcasts, but I only go on certain podcasts, you see, that I feel comfortable, and I don't reach different boundaries. Like some people go on anyone's show, I don't do it. I've had invites. I don't always take them. It's just the problem. Also, sometimes it's the times. Some of these shows at tea time and when the kids are about. That's why my podcast is at 10 at night. You see, that's 5 p.m. in America, or for some of America, and that's when I can do it. But some of these shows, it's just too early for me.
Right.
That's the problem,
Obviously.
But no, the podcast I go on generally is Retro Renegades. I do go on there. Not a frequent guest, but if I want to go on, I'll just let Jay know. He's told me. If you want to come on, let us know.
Yeah, and I've got an open invite too, and I've actually had to turn them down just because I'm usually working, and I've got, some nights I'm working late, and if I don't know in advance, I can't. I have to be able to schedule around it. So anybody who wants me on, I just say, hey, you just got to give me a heads up so I can make my schedule around that, But I've had them, how they are. Obviously, if they've got open slots or they want some more people, and then they'll just reach out and say, hey, can you come on? And I'm like, no, I'm at work. Sorry, I can't do it. But I'd love to get back on there again. I'm sure I will. So, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, no, it's a good show. I mean, yeah, I remember going Retro Renegade. NLG was everyone says I think I was joking about a bucket list. I've always wanted to go on the NLG show.
Yeah,
and I finally got on it. Now just to note, people, anyone could go on, get an invite. You don't have to become a Gamers Guild, the Gamers United Guild member. It just happened. It just happened that way. But I've been since last summer. Mike said, "Yeah, I'll get you on, Stubbs," and it's never happened.
Yeah, Mike's already mentioned to me too. So, but I'm sure he'll make it happen. So it's
a good show to get on. Really,
it's a great show. What a great group of guys!
It felt like Renegades. Well, I felt as relaxed as I do on Renegades.
Right. Even though they're more structured, it's still so relaxed and chill. I love that group of guys. Those are my brothers over there. I love them. So awesome people.
Yeah, and then but yes, the NLG was people. I was not joking, people. I mentioned it. I have certain podcasts I would love to go on.
Of course.
Was one of Yeah, like Indie Gamer, he said to me, he gets invited on a lot of shows, but due to the times differences in that, he just can't do it. It's too late for him. He's got a part. He's got people in his house. Can't waken them up at late. Early in hours of the morning. Whereas where I am downstairs, people do. I know I've got a bit of a loud mouth. You may not know I talk loudly, but they can't generally hear me because I'm in a bigger house. You see,
right?
In general, but yeah, that was so. When did you're on the shop? You're a regular now on the Shop podcast,
correct?
And the Xbox Ultimate podcast, also.
Yes,
a fellow Gamers United Guild member recently.
Absolutely.
Well done, Mav and Caitlin.
Shout out to Mav and Caitlin. Absolutely awesome, just amazing people. I've been so fortunate to meet all of you guys. I mean, that's the crazy part about all this. I just joined the community to talk some gaming and never expected to meet such a great group of human beings. And that's been the ultimate bonus to all of this. And I appreciate all of you guys.
Welcome, Fastback. And yes, Fastback, I said, yep, soon, Pong Soul.
Thanks, brother Chris.
But yes, no, so with the Shop podcast, how many podcasts were you on before they said, hey, Pong, do you want to become a regular?
Right after the first show.
Really?
When I guessed it. Yeah. PTK. I went on that show. And they were down one panel member that night, and I went on, and we had such a good time. And it was so I was kind of nervous for that one because I knew none of those guys, right? I didn't know. I had
Centurion's on there.
Yeah, I had interacted with Centurion through chat, in some of his shows, right? But I had not I had no other communication with anybody, Fuzzy and PTK. I had no communication with those guys and Stag. So I was completely, I was nervous. That was the one show I was really nervous about because I just didn't want to make a fool out of myself. Right. Because I know PTK's got a pretty good following. And it definitely was something that I was a little bit worried about. But we went in and it was such a natural feeling show with all those guys. And it just flowed and the energy was good. And, I guess I spoke well enough that PTK, liked what he heard. And, yeah, I mean, he reached out to me after the show and started thinking about it that night. And the next day he asked me to be a regular. So actually, I think it was the same night that he actually DM'd me. So
that's good, that is, because you are very well versed. Do you do research on like certain subjects on in the gaming world? Do you keep up to date with everything, I presume?
Yeah, it's different for me. I love the one thing that's come out of this is that it's challenged me in a different way. Like I used to be, again, like I said before, I was going to go into sports journalism,
Yeah.
and do all that kind of stuff because I was extremely knowledgeable in sports, right? So gaming has been something I've been doing for so long, and obviously, when you do something for as long as we all have been gaming, you just kind of get a general knowledge, right? My interest level goes beyond that, so I read a lot of articles. I've always listened to a lot of people talk about games, but I've never had to challenge my brain to dig deeper into gaming. Like I will naturally think about things a little bit deeper than, let's say the average person who reads an article and just, dismisses it on whatever topic, like I do with many topics, right? You kind of just read it and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it's gone. For me, gaming is a little more important to my life. So I always think about things a little more. Doing this now, and prepping for shows, a little bit, definitely has challenged my brain to think more critically about things and also to formulate my thoughts better. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be now that I'm on 2 podcasts permanently, but it's challenging me to get better at that and to formulate my thoughts and to speak clearly, without too much hesitation. And that's something that I'm happy about because, again, I love learning. You're going to learn till the day you die in my world. So I think it's awesome.
It's good to hear it. It's you have a very good take on every viewpoint you put across. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
I know I run midweek
Trying.
gaming, but you with your knowledge and the way you talk about topics, you put me to shame, to be honest.
No, that's not
Yeah,
true. Everybody has a
yeah,
style. And I think that's what's missed. If we all spoke the same, it'd be boring, right? It'd be
yeah. It's
stupid.
true. It
There'd
is.
be no reason for that. That's why, I can listen to VJ and go, God, I wish I had that knowledge to be able to just spit out at any given moment, right? I can listen to VJ and appreciate where he comes from. But if every podcast was filled with that, it'd be very boring. You got to have all different types of voices to be
True.
heard. And especially even shows that have everybody who agrees all the time.
Oh, I don't like them echo chambers. No, I do not like them at all.
No, and certain topics that's
Fair
going to
enough.
happen.
If you agree, oh yeah, about the reversal of price,
Right.
and
Right.
that's a good thing. But every topic, no,
Yes. Yeah, and that's the beautiful part. And again, it's not even about, you can have a show that everybody agrees on a topic. There's always going to be a topic where everybody is kind of in alignment just because, whatever. It's one of those topics where everybody just has the same type feelings about. But it's the voices and the way they explain how they're thinking about that topic can be completely different from each other. And you can get a completely new perspective, even if it is the same at the end, the same answer. You can get a completely new perspective, or it can make you think a different way. Or you can say, hey, you know what? Actually, I understood how this person said it even better than I did the last person. And I think I love that. I think it's fascinating to hear that happen during a podcast. And energy is everything. And you got to have that good mix of energy, to make it all work. So
no, you're correct. It's like there's a difference of opinions, and on my show, it's like a lot of people. Some people think VJ. I've seen it before. Go on,
yeah.
but people don't realise that VJ had 25 years in the gaming industry, has worked at different locations. He's worked in studios, distribution. He's worked in a lot. He's worked everywhere, and people
Is that
don't
what they
really.
call MI5 and CIA and FBI now? Is that what we're calling it?
No, but that's what he was in. But
I know. I
but,
love.
but
You're
that's
talking the
how-
president of the VJ club right here. So
but that's the way he talks. He says, "I like to
Yes.
offer a different perspective."
Yeah.
You see, because in general, gamers do not think that way. But he looks into finance reports and all sorts. So he tells you something financial. It's usually 99% true because he's looked through the report, the earnings call, and stuff like that. He has, But no, it's good. So, like, when did you obviously you're a regular on the Xbox Ultimate podcast. When did you become full time on that?
Let's see. Matt can probably answer this. Was it 3 weeks ago. I think last show was my third. Let's see. My last shop podcast was my third regular, and I think I joined the Xbox Ultimate a week prior to that full time, or a week after that full time. So I got to say that
3 weeks.
it's 2 or 3 weeks that I've been on that show permanently.
Well, no, you had a good dynamic to it. You do,
yeah.
Which is good.
No, Mavs pulled together a good team. I love what we got going on over there. Very positive, but neutral. We're not fanboys over there. Most of us all play, all systems or different systems. Whatever the case may be, but really love the different perspectives we have over there.
Well, no, yeah, it's good. It's a well-rounded show. It's good to have a difference of opinions and Fastback said, I think he's referring. He doesn't always agree with VJs because sometimes I really get the chat really gets fired up on our topics and they're firing away. And Fastback's normally one of them. I don't agree, and then I see it and I get worse. I'm like, well, right, I don't agree even more now. I say why, but it's all fun. It's all good debating. It's good to have different viewpoints,
Yeah, as long as it's a respectful debate, that's the best part about it. And giving people some shit every once in a while, there's nothing wrong with that. The other stuff that comes along with that, the people that go overboard, that's when it ruins it, especially in a chat. And as somebody who started out in chat, and all of us has been there and seen it, it can just ruin the whole tone of a chat. Chat's a great part of podcasting when it's healthy, when it's respectful, and when there are people just, even if they're going back and forth on different ideas, just like the people on the panel, that's good. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, because Freebit was saying that him and VJ, when they're on the show together, he said that they bounce off each other really well, he reckons,
Correct. Yep.
Welcome, Michael Monkey Punch. But yeah, no. In general, you've in my opinion, you're a rising star, and you've hit the podcast wall by storm.
Oh my God, Stubbs! That's a little dramatic, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, but you have. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
That's your most favourite, because honestly, I've worked out why you say it, and it's so you can be in multiple chats or whatever, you haven't got always. Sometimes you're listening, you can't type away. And you go, good to see you. Good to see you, Andy. Good to see you, Stubbs. Good to see you. Good. And you can get through multiple people by saying, it's good to see you.
Well, I still like to make it personal, right? And because you can do a group one too. And I've done that before when I've had to. Like you can do a whole group. Hey, nice to see you all. But I'm one of those people that grew up where, if I'm at a restaurant and a waiter or waitress, I know their name, right? So I like to address people by their name. Like I like to make that personal connection, even if I already know you. I just want to make sure that that I'm here and that I see you, right? Basically is what it's saying. I see you, right? Personally. And that's what I really like to come across as.
No, you're right. It's very good at this, but it is nice to know that you do sleep,
Yeah,
I do. I was not convinced that you actually slept.
I know people were saying I was a bot. So
I know what has been made to go into people's chats, and that's sophisticated. It makes individual messages to each person.
Yep. No, I agree. I think it was funny when it first started. I just happened to, again, just lucky enough that I have a job where even if I'm doing my work, I can sit on podcasts and I just have the ability to do it. And because of my hours, I'm generally there from the morning, into the night. So I generally catch all the podcasts. Yes, there are times when I have multiple tabs up because I have so many friends that are creators that have multiple. I've had to do that, and I will listen to 2 podcasts at once if I have to, or I'll mute one and listen to one for a while so that I know what topic's being talked about. I do my best. Am I perfect at it? No, but I'm just lucky enough that I have the ability to do that. So that's why it looks like I'm everywhere.
Yeah, it's really good. It is, But I always say good to see you now. It's a running joke now because good to see you.
And if you notice, I do switch that up. I don't use good every time. Stubbs.
No, you don't. No.
I use great. I've got my list of adjectives or my adjectives, but the reason it doesn't mean any less that I do that. It just means that I don't like seeing it said the same way over and over again. So I have to switch it up for myself, but it means the same to me when I greet somebody. It doesn't matter if I use one word or another word. It's all the same to me. I'm just greeting you because I am thankful to see you in chat. It's good to see you there. So.
That's good to hear. Mav just said it's bad to see you.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the right way to say something. I don't think. I don't think I'd be here today if I did that. Bad to see you.
Oh no, it's been a good talk. The chats enjoyed it. You know, they have.
Yeah.
So obviously, now you're on a couple of podcasts. If you had some advice, I know you've not been in the game long. This is more like, say somebody wanted to try podcasting or go on a show. What would you say to them to give them about advice about how to do it or how to go about it or to be brave enough to try it?
Yeah, I think the main thing is, and this is, I mean, anything that's going to come out is going to sound corny. So, but you really have to be yourself from the beginning, because if you fake something, let's say that you start out and you're just interacting with people in the chat like I did, right? Or on Twitter, or whatever the case may be. If you start out projecting yourself as a certain type of person, and then you get invited on a podcast, and you yourself know that you have put up a fake personality or a fake type of, a mask that you've worn now, and now you're going to be exposed. You're going to have to either become a really good actor or actress to pull it off, and you're going to be lying the entire time to people, and you are in your heart, and it's going to affect how you come across, especially when you are speaking live and talking about things. So I would say be true to yourself from the beginning when you start interacting with this community. And that's something I firmly believe in. That's something that I have done from the beginning. I haven't tried to change myself. There's a lot of great content creators out there, right? There is more content creators now than ever before, especially with what happened in 2020. More people are stuck at home and said, you know what? I'm just going to start making stuff. So you can find a lot of people out there that have awesome voices, that have, personalities that come across when they speak. But if you try to copy any of that, or you try to say, hey, I'm just going to be just like this person because this person I see is successful, it's not going to work. You got to be yourself. You just got to be who you are. And yeah, some people may not like or appreciate listening to you, but you can't worry about those people. You'll find people out there who really like what you have to say and the way that you say it, no matter who you are. But you can't start out faking it, because it's going to come out, and then people are going to look at you side-eyed. People are going to start, saying, hey, this guy or this gal is not obviously who they said they were, or whatever the case may be. And it's just going to come across fake. And you don't want that, especially for starting out. You don't want that you don't want people talking about you like that, or your inner voice to yourself saying, hey, this isn't who you really are. That's not going to be good for you.
Well, that is excellent advice. Excellent to anyone that wants to try it. You are right about, because obviously there's been people in our community that have got big and rised up, and in the end they've turned toxic, and that's their true self. So faking it, Yeah, you are right. But that is excellent advice. Like Indy said, he agrees with you. Yeah, good advice. It's true to be yourself and to do what you're passionate about, and that's true.
Correct.
There's plenty of content creators out there, and it exploded during the pandemic last year.
Right.
You are right. But excellent advice, Pong Solve, especially from someone as new as you to the podcasting world as well.
Well, a lot of it transfers from life, right, Stubbs? Yeah. I mean, again, and again, I'm no young pup, right? I've I've learned a lot of things in my life, and a lot of those same. It doesn't matter what you're doing, or whatever choices you make, or whatever the case may be. A lot of that same advice can be applied across all of life, and it translates well into whatever you're doing, job wise or for fun wise or whatever the case may be. But podcasting is one of those things, especially since podcasting and doing this stuff is so personable. It is, it is you being you, and that's what it's about. So
That's good to hear. That is, yeah, you are correct. Very, very good advice. So yeah, thanks for coming on, Pong. It's Pong Soul. It's been really good. It has.
it's been awesome, Stubbs.
The community seems to have enjoyed it. There's been loads of interactions and fun chats in the chat room, which is good. So, people, I'm going to tell you now when the next going to announce some podcasts. The next Stubbs cast is next Sunday, 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. PST with the Indie Gamer. It's like a revisited edition. Now he's just a great podcaster, and he's hit the 1,000 subs. So it'd be nice to have a chat with Indie Gamer. It will again about content creation, because he's a bank of knowledge, people. He knows his stuff on content creation. He does. That'll be very good, because last time he was with Jeepers Reviews. Unfortunately, Jeepers left the community. He was a good content creator, but he's left the community. I still spoke to him the odd time, on Discord, but he's not. He left the community. He did. Not very nice bloke he was. But they're on the show together. So this time it just be Indie Game. It will. Really, I'm looking forward to that. And then wait a minute. Let's have a look at the calendar. Let's have a look. Calendar. I've got another one confirmed. Right. Sunday, the 7th of February. It is Math Fun Speculation.
Awesome.
Stubbs Cast, the content creator hub. 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. PST. Check out Mav, aka Fun Speculation, will be on the show. Yeah, that's a good challenge if you want. Mass Mayhem's just said that. No, that's not fair. He enjoys Hollow Knight.
It looks like you didn't notify Mav.
Mav's the best in the bar. Mav's all for it.
He said, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, Mav will be on the show. And as for Community Spotlight, I'm not sure when the next one is. I haven't booked any. I haven't. So I have to let people know on that front. I will. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Pong. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
No, it's been fantastic, Stubbs. I knew it would be. Like I said, I've been listening to you for long enough, and you're a great interview, and I love this format that you've come up with. It is relaxed, it's chill, it's just two people talking, and obviously we veered course into something completely off subject, but that's the best part about this. Exactly. And obviously, ever since I first started listening to you, I knew you'd be a guy that I'd sit down and definitely have a beer with and just shoot the shit.
Yeah, definitely.
So I expected nothing less coming on here, and this has been awesome. And obviously, everybody in chat, I just chatted out to all of you, but seriously, from the bottom of my heart, guys, every time I am just shocked, surprised, flabbergasted with the support that this community has shown and continues to show. Not just me, but all of us, but all the content creators out there and all the people in chat and all just the love and affection shown to complete strangers. Right? I mean, we all know each other in a fashion, but let's be real. Some of us are on the other side of the world, but the community here has been absolutely amazing to become a part of. And I can't say enough how much I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Love you all. I'm so glad to have found all of you. And it's been one of the best experiences of my life so far. It's really up there. So thank you all.
Yeah, no, it's a great show. It was. I mean, obviously I've learned over time how to do these interviews. Well, this is more of a conversation and as regards to an interview. Right. But some people will say it's an interview. Some people say it's a conversation. I've got better over time. If you go back and listen to an early Stubbs cast, you'll notice hearing a lot. If anyone does it, if you go back to the early Stubbs cast and you look at the Stubbs cast now, because Indie Gamer mentioned it to me, you'll notice a massive change. You will, because I've learned how to adapt. I've even learned how to do community spotlights without even having any questions in front of me. There you go, peeps. I've not scripted this again.
No, that's perfect. That's the way it should be. I think it comes off more natural.
Stubbs cast, I do script them. I just write questions, but in general, I know it's a community spotlight. It's centered around gaming and questions like it's really simple to do, but some people can't do that. You see, it's a thing I've learned over time.
Yep.
I'm not saying every question, or I could come up with questions on the fly as well that are like sub questions of connected to it.
Right.
But yeah, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Thanks, Dragon Wolf, Darth Praxis, Masuku, Freebit, Caitlin, Mav, Fastback. I like to shout people out, The Indie Gamer, Dreadpool. Who else we got? Michael Monkey Punch, Mass Mayhem UK, Pong Soul UK, Dazarus, Avish. I love to shout people what they say. I love Invader Gaming. Thanks for stopping by, Jago. Loads and loads of people. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate that. That is it. That way, it's more relaxed, and you get a Wasp Nest topic as a bonus. Yep, you do.
Exactly.
Do not ask me about bugs, none of you, because that was a world exclusive. I'm not going to answer next time.
Your DMs are going to be full of bug questions now.
Yeah, the problem is though the laws stipulate differently in different countries.
Right.
That's the problem. And certain chemicals are banned and some ain't. That's the problem.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
And you come away with a past qualification. Very funny, Mayhem. He's the head honcho of BG4G Hub, www.bg4ghub.com for your latest news, reviews, independent, I messed it up, independent opinion pieces and podcasts and more. Please check it out. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by and appreciate it, Pong. And I don't know when the next community spotlight will be, but I will book one and I'll let you all know on Twitter. Anyway, it's been good fun, it has.
It has.
It has.
It's been a great time.
Thanks, Pong.
No, thank you for having me, sir.
I'll see you all later. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys. Thank you all.